Palestinians as though, like, to the Americans, I mean, maybe Fox News watchers, that means something, but like, Americans are not going to look at that and be like, oh yeah, Israel's definitely the good guys, because as long as they're doing it democratically, that's fine. It's like, okay, well, the Nazis were democratically doing the Holocaust, dude.
These calls for a ceasefire at this point are extortion. The other on behalf of Hamas. But you've been in the press talking a lot about the offensive in Rafah. How does that play?
Bro, every day that they fucking keep blowing up Palestinian lives and Palestinian children, and they try to fucking posture as like we're doing it against Hamas, is another day when people are going to be like, okay, well, I don't think the Hamas guys are the bad guys anymore. I've been saying this, and I don't think Israel understands it, because yes, the terrorism designation carries a tremendous amount of weight with it, right? But you can't do way larger terror than the people who you are calling a terrorist in defense against the terror act. Because ultimately, no matter what happens, like, people are gonna be like, no, dude, like, what the fuck are you talking about? Well, the other guys are obviously not, it can't be that bad because I see what you're doing.
Play into getting Hamas to a place where they're prepared to negotiate on your terms?
Look, the only thing that gets Hamas to release the hostages is continued military pressure. That's what enabled us to bring out already half of the hostages. That's what will enable us to get the remaining hostages. At the same time, there has to be pressure.
It's such a funny take because, like, no, it's the exact opposite, actually. The only time hostages were released was when there was a ceasefire and you released hostages from Israeli prisons.
Pressure from Qatar that wields enormous influence on Hamas, and they should be pressed to press them. So the fact that we're going to destroy the remaining Hamas terrorist battalions in Rafah is both important for eradicating the Hamas rule, but also important for getting the hostages out. These are complementary goals; they're not contradictory goals.
How many Hamas fighters, terrorists remain in Rafah? What kind of force are we talking about?
We've destroyed about 19 of Hamas 24 terrorist battalions. So there are about 4 in Rafah. We have to destroy them. When people tell us don't go into Rafah, that's like telling the Allies, listen, don't go into Berlin, leave a quarter of the Nazi army intact. You know, that's ridiculous. You know, if we leave a quarter of the Hamas fighting terrorist battalions in place, they'll regroup, reconquer Gaza, and in fact, perpetrate once again what they vowed to do, which is to repeat the October 7th massacre over and over and over again. That's not going to happen. So we need total victory over Hamas. We're within reach. We should do it. We're going to do it while we enable the civilian population in Rafah to leave, as we've done up to now. But we have to finish the job. We need total victory. There's no substitute for total victory.
There's no doubt this is a fight that Israel needs to finish, considering what occurred. Yet you already hear in our media and from our leadership, we're going to get to that in a moment, renewed calls again for a two-state solution. What's your view on these calls for Palestinians?
Pelosi's saying Bibi's interfering in our elections as well?
It's curious to me to see Netanyahu talk the way he does when he tried to interfere in American elections. But that's another subject. When
or she didn't need to wait till June 2 to drop.
Came to the Congress, criticized the President of the United States, barged into our country, into our elections. But again, let's put that aside and let's just say, as we go forward, what is wrong with advocating for elections in a democracy? And you know, you mentioned the polls.
The democracy line does not matter. America's not a democracy. This stream is not a democracy. Plenty of things are not a democracy. There's a 3-minute ad break at the top of the hour. And if I were to ask democratically whether you guys would like to see those ads or not, obviously the majority would say, of course I don't want to see the ads. But of course, as it stands, the only way that you can refuse to see those ads, avoid seeing those ads, is by subscribing. for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. That's the only way you can fight back, folks. Here's the 3-minute ad break now. Winter Rose, thank you for the 10 community gift subs, allowing 10 people to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour.
You see that thousands and thousands of people are in the streets, even last night in Israel. But again, it's a democracy, and people have different views, and they express them, and that's a beautiful thing. But for him to say, what does that say if he won't even say that as the war winds down, the people of Israel should speak? It's curious to me to see Netanyahu talk the way he does when he tried to interfere in American elections. But that's another subject. When he came to the Congress, criticized the President of the United States, barged into our country, into our elections. But again, let's put that aside and let's just say as we go forward.
Democrats are the most cuck people on the planet. Because, like, you might think she's talking about Biden right now. And in some ways, she is talking about Biden right now. What Netanyahu is doing against Biden. But actually, what she's talking about is when Netanyahu went and delivered a speech to Republican Congress when Barack Obama was the president. Profound influence on American politics, which was objectively correct.
State.
Well, it's not only my view; it's the view of the vast majority of Israelis who believe that at this time to have a Palestinian state would be basically a formula for creating a platform, the greatest reward for terrorism in history, and it would create a platform for attacking Israel. In fact, Hamas had a de facto Palestinian state in Gaza. And what did they use it for? To massacre Israelis in the worst savagery that was meted on Jews since the Holocaust. So, you know, we just had a vote in the Knesset the other day. 99 against 9 of the Knesset, our parliament members, voted against the attempt to impose on Israel a Palestinian state. So you have to say, when people say, oh, well, you know, this is...
Yeah, exactly. And we're killing the 9 people, actually. We've arrested them, and they're going to permanent jail for voting against that. We're going to kill them.
Netanyahu and his fringe, and
he's like, that's how we do democracy.
Fringe elements in his coalition? No, it's not. It's the vast majority of the Israeli public that understands that a Palestinian state, the way that is being envisioned, would be an enormous danger to Israel's future. So that's why they're united in resisting.
I do love him saying, like, we are democratically genociding Palestinians, as though, like, to the Americans, I mean, maybe Fox News watchers, that means something, but, like, Americans are not going to look at that and be like, oh, yeah, Israel's definitely the good guys, because as long as they're doing it democratically, that's fine. It's like, okay, well, the Nazis were democratically doing the Holocaust, dude. The fuck? If you polled the Nazi population at the time, you know, minus obviously the victims, they were probably pretty on board with it, you know? This doesn't matter. It's just as stupid as being like, well, it's illegal. It's not the law.
This, and it's I'm proud to lead this policy. But when I'm being criticized by various people in the United States as obstructing peace because of that, well, number one, we're not obstructing peace. We're ensuring that we don't have a catastrophic suicidal move. And second, it's not just me, it's the vast majority of Israelis. So if you want to take up the issue with the vast majority of Israelis, say so. Say you're against the vast majority of the people of Israel. And don't try to...
Yeah, I am. I'm against the vast majority of Israeli people, the Israeli population's take on further genocide in Gaza. Yes. Also, What I personally don't understand is like, this is Fox News, buddy. Fuck you mean the majority of the interests of the Israeli population? I'm sorry. I didn't realize Fox News was being broadcast out of fucking Tel Aviv. What do you mean? You're talking to Americans, okay? It would be chill if we, had that kind of energy, but we don't because we're pussies. Our politicians are massive pushovers and totally cucked.
Personalize it because it's not a personal thing. I'm leading the policy that most Israelis think is essential for our survival and our future.
Let's talk about that criticism, Mr. Prime Minister. Here's Chuck Schumer slamming you on the Senate floor on Thursday.
A new election is the only way to allow for a healthy and open decision-making process.
Oh, by the way, ironic because the majority view is to, fucking keep killing people in Gaza. Here's another majority view, almost as popular as continuing the genocide, getting Benjamin Netanyahu out of office. I wonder if he's going to talk about the Democratic majority's wishes when it comes to him no longer being in office and being in prison, for example, because I thought he cared about the Israeli democracy. Guess what? Let's hear from the majority Israeli view on that.
About the future of Israel. People on all sides of this war are turning away from a two-state solution, including Israel's Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu. I believe in his heart he has his highest priority is the security of Israel. However, I also believe Prime Minister Netanyahu has lost his way.
Mr. Prime Minister, he says you've got to go. Joe Biden says he liked the speech and also said your policies are hurting Israel more than helping Israel. Your response to Chuck Schumer and the president?
I think Schumer's statements are wholly inappropriate. I think we're not a banana republic. The people of Israel will choose when they'll have elections, who they elect, and it's not.
Why doesn't CNN play this all the time? CNN should literally play the Fox News clip of Benjamin Netanyahu being like, yeah, fuck Chuck Schumer and fuck Biden. Like literally nonstop. They should play this so that the liberals can comprehend what the fuck's going on.
Not something that will be foisted upon us. That, it's wrong to try to replace the elected leaders of a sister democracy and a staunch American ally at any time, but especially during the time of war. Just imagine that after 9/11, and when you're in the midst of fighting al-Qaeda and winning, people will say, oh, well, the right thing, some Israeli would say, oh, the right thing to do is now to have new elections in America or have President Bush resign. It's inappropriate, shouldn't have been said. It's wrong. As far as my considerations.
Yeah, except Bush was like, he should have been replaced, but he was incredibly popular after 9/11. You had reverse Bush numbers after October 7, big dog. The fuck? Bush was like 94% approval rating after 9/11. You had like a 94% disapproval rating after October 7.
They're not for my personal survival. They are for the survival of the Jewish state, and that requires pursuing the war. It's something that my government enjoys the support of the overwhelming majority of Israelis. And let me tell you something, not only the majority of Israelis, but the majority of the American people. 82% support Israel consistently over the 5 months of the war against Hamas and not Hamas. So, I don't know why Senator Schumer made those statements. I think the only thing that we should be focused on is changing the regime in Gaza, bringing down the terrorist regime of Hamas and not the duly elected government of Israel. Mm-hmm. That's the right policy.
Well, as you know, Donald Trump is the front runner on the Republican side. He was recently asked about what Joe Biden has said on this topic. Here's what he said.
And all of a sudden, he dumped Israel. That's what he's doing. He dumped Israel.
Well, he's not walking.
Dude, you know what's really funny about this? It's like Republicans love talking about America first and like how we're fucking so proud of our nation. Like they love talking about how they love talking about how patriotic they are. And like this is just a broadcast of them getting cucked to an unpopular leader in a foreign country. Look, don't worry, Mr. Netanyahu, sir. Don't worry, our big beautiful orange boy loves you. And says that Biden is not sufficiently pro you. Please, sir. Please, sir. Crazy.
Away, but what would be in light of
but wouldn't you say he is walking away? I mean, he just said essentially that Bibi Netanyahu should take a walk.
Do you feel like you're losing support, Mr. Prime Minister?
Well, I hope not. First of all, let me say that I appreciate President Trump's tremendous support for Israel. When he was president, he recognized Jerusalem as Israel's capital. He moved the American embassy there. He recognized our sovereignty in the Golan Heights. He got out of the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. And he also...
Yeah, he's literally like one of the biggest reasons why October 7 happened, like straight up.
Together, we worked and brokered the historic Abraham Accords, which brought peace with 4 Arab states. Equally, I appreciate the fact that...
Yep, there it is, by the way, the Abraham Accords.
Right from the start of the war, President...
Yeah, maybe now people will fucking understand what I mean when I get like really mad at Joe Biden for not bro, shut the fuck up. Shut up. Shut up. Shut up. Stop fucking complaining, you goddamn boomer. You Twitch users are really weird. Please explain why spamming a caricature of a Muslim and spamming Arabic random phrases is weird. Shut the fuck up, boomer. You don't know what the fuck you're looking at. So it's like making you angry, okay? You're getting mad at fucking emotes. Shut the fuck up! God, you haven't stopped fucking complaining. Like, this is what he's mad at. We're over here fucking going through like the genocide of the Palestinian population, and he's mad at a bunch of fucking white boys spamming mashallah or inshallah with a fucking peepo baba. Goddamn dumbass, old ass, fucking stupid ass boomers on this fucking platform. Jesus Christ. There's a difference. They're not being fucking racist, jackass. The fuck do you think? Please don't ban them. Just explain to them. I feel bad. Us boomers don't understand us. There's a difference between making fun of Arabs and Muslims in general versus like using Muslim or Islamic imagery. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. Holy shit. So mad. And it's like, I was going to let it go because I was like, all right, he's like definitely a boomer getting like really upset and really agitated for no fucking reason. But he hasn't stopped fucking adding other chatters in the chat. He literally was like trying to duke it out with a bunch of fucking 22-year-olds in the chat. Like, you cannot use this emote that I cannot understand. And I'm only seeing Allahu Akbar is what he keeps saying. No one fucking said Allahu Akbar in the fucking chat. But even if they did, what the fuck do you think is going on here? Whose community do you think they're a part of? Like, do you think I fucking allow Islamophobia in here? Dumb fuck? You're disrespecting me when you fucking say shit like that. Oh my God.
Biden stood with Israel, came here, called Hamas sheer evil, sent carrier groups, aircraft carrier groups to the region, and sent us ammunition. So I hope that support will continue. But I'll tell you one thing. Look, I can tell you.
You're a fucking fake friend. You're a bitch. You're bitch made. God, but so is Biden. God, he's such a bitch. I hate Biden so much. Fuck.
And I said this to President Biden early on. We had our discussions. We had some differences on whether we should enter Gaza, how we should enter Gaza, and so on. And I said,
like, it'd be like if a trans boomer came in here and got mad if we had like a hyper pop emote and people were spamming it while talking about Hearts of Iron or some shit. Like, context, okay? There's not an Islamophobic community, jackass. Fuck, man.
I said the truth. I said, look, if we have to go it alone, we'll go it alone. But I also know that we're not alone, that the vast majority of Americans support Israel, and for a good reason, because they understand that our war is your war. Our victory is your victory, that we're fighting the same people who chant death to America and death to Israel. They want to see our civilization brought down, our liberties brought down, our values brought down. And that's why I think we'll continue to enjoy the support of the vast majority of the American public.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, thank you for joining us on Fox and Friends Weekend. Godspeed in your fight, sir. Thank you.
Godspeed.